So I've been catching up on Black Clover recently, and I've just gotten to a point where the main character, Asta, now has 3 different women crushing on him, and all of these women at some point are vying for his attention over the others, which in my book constitutes a light harem. You can dispute me on the exact number of necessary love interests and interaction level if you like, but the point is that something about this character is making multiple women fall for him, and it's totally believable in the context of the story. So it got me thinking, how can a Shounen Action series pull this off when a typical harem series designed around the concept of a harem often fails so miserably at doing the same? There are 2 main factors that contribute to this, both of which relate to the fundamental writing styles and structures behind each genre. The first is effort. Not effort on the part of the writers, I mean actual effort being put forth by the main character. Just going on general stereotypes, Shounen Action protagonists and harem protagonists, especially those of new age light novel harems, are on the exact opposite ends of the effort scale. A Shounen Action hero typically starts at or near the very bottom and has to work his way up to the top. He's usually given only the basics that he needs to make his start, and then has to use his own efforts to push himself the rest of the way. As a natural result, the character comes off as more endearing and likable. Even in real life, we tend to like people who work hard to rise up in the world. A self-made man is an attractive concept because it shows how resourceful and diligent he is. And this lines up with the story presented in Black Clover. Yes, Asta is given the unique ability to negate magic in order to have a leg up on the competition, but he's only able to wield this power because of his own physical strength, which he built up over years of training as compensation for having no magical power. He's worked hard to get where he is, but he also still has a ways to go to get to the very top and become the Wizard King. And because he's putting in so much effort, we and the other characters in the story want to see him succeed. In contrast, typical harem protagonists, especially those in an action setting like the Asterisk War, are already incredibly powerful right from the get-go. This is part and parcel of being a wish fulfillment fantasy, but this concept ironically works against the romantic progress of the series. Because the character is already at the top, he doesn't have to work hard to get any further. He just coasts along past any obstacles in his way with little effort. Sure, the series might try to simulate effort, but because we already know how powerful the character is, the effect is lost on us. With no real conflict to overcome, how interesting the protagonist is falls solely on who they are. Which brings us to the second factor, personality. Not necessarily a particular type of personality, but more so the fact that they simply have a lot of personality. And this is true for almost every good Shounen Action protagonist. Luffy, Gon, Naruto, Gintoki, Yusuke, Midoriya, all of these characters have abundantly flowing personalities. And because their personalities are so easy to understand, we get a grasp of who they are fairly quickly. Moreover, when we're exposed to this personality for a long period of time, as is the case with most Shonen Jump heroes, the more we grow to like that personality, even if it's a bit on the annoying side, and thus we can understand why other characters would grow to like it as well. Asta is the same way. Yes, he might be a bit on the obnoxious side, but despite this, the manga goes out of its way to show how much people like his straightforward and honest nature, and how much fun it is to be around him. He has this magnetic quality that attracts other people to him, including the reader, so it's only natural that there's going to be a couple girls who develop interest in him. For another example of this second point, I highly recommend one of the most overlooked shows of last season that still deserves notice, Armed Girls Machiavellianism. It's actually pretty fun and has a fairly competent story. Meanwhile, harem protagonists tend to be on the exact opposite end of the spectrum in terms of personality volume. Again, this is a fundamental element of the genre itself, as having self-insert characters instead of fully fleshed out ones is more beneficial to the genre's wish fulfillment nature, but that doesn't make these protagonists any more interesting or attractive. And if we don't find the protagonists interesting, then why would we believe that any of the characters in the show would find them interesting interesting enough to get romantically involved with them. If the audience doesn't perceive a protagonist with the same level of reverence that the characters in the story do, there's going to be a lot of dissonance in how we view the interactions between characters. In conclusion, it appears as though this phenomenon of a shonen action series being better at harem elements than an actual harem anime is simply the result of what each series is trying to achieve. One sets out to be a product that appeals to a niche market obsessed with merchandise rather than the work itself, and thus has to have a protagonist with an unobtrusive personality, while the other has a broader demographic appeal and, as such, works to make itself as interesting as possible on a story level so that the audience grows to love that protagonist as much as the other characters do. Put simply, a little effort and a lot of heart goes a long way. Thanks for watching, guys. This is my first video with heavy manga elements, so I definitely got to exercise my editing muscles a little bit and learn a little bit more about my editing program, so hopefully this video turned out watchable. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, be sure to like and subscribe so you can stay up to date on all my latest content. Leave a comment below about what you thought and other series that you'd like me to cover in the future. Share this video around with people you think will be interested, and don't forget to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. My name is Ember, and I'll see you next time.